Hey beautiful souls, David Essery here. I wanted to do a video today to talk about a subject I don't think I've ever really talked about on my channel at all, which is quite a surprise to me. And when I think back on it, I feel like I've kind of skipped over quite a few steps perhaps with the whole spirituality thing. Um, and I think there's a lot of content that I can probably go back and cover, which I think might be quite useful. So that may be a step for the future. But what I want to talk about today really is our support network, the team that we have around us in the light. Because we are surrounded every single moment since the moment we are born until the moment that we pass by a series of beautiful souls whose entire reason for being are there to support us and to love us and to guide us on our journey. And in every single moment of every single one of our days, this love just pours to us. We've got these beings that we can just call upon for help, for assistance, for guidance. And, you know, I know some of you guys are very, very active in working with them, but I think a lot of other people as well are, don't really acknowledge them at all. I have to admit, when it comes to me, when I seek guidance, when I seek wisdom, I go straight to the Ascended Masters, to the Archangels. But the truth is, much closer to home, we've got this, what I like to think of as a family around us, who are there constantly. We're in communication with them. If we're working intuitively and getting guidance, we're in constant communication with them. But yet it often we don't even acknowledge where it's coming from. It's just there. What I'm speaking about specifically, of course, is our own personal angel, our spirit guides, our unicorn, our dragon, and sometimes even others. And they form this team, I like to call it the team of light, around us. And they are there all the time, guiding us, supporting us, loving us. And I think it's really important to take the time to acknowledge that and show gratitude for what they do for us. Because really they are beings of service. That is their sole purpose for being, is to be here for us, and that is awesome. So yeah, I thought today I'll just talk about, these different types of beings really, and what they can do for our lives if we work with them a little bit more actively. So I'm going to kick things off. First of all, each one of us, before we are incarnated, before we come down to planet Earth, we essentially make a contract with an angel. And these are, we refer to archangels that are kind of higher up the hierarchy, should we say, within the heavens, because there is absolutely a hierarchy within the heavens. It's like the most well-oiled business that you can possibly imagine, which is a really strange way to think about it. But they all have their role, their structures that they report to, people higher up that oversee but larger things. They have people that are a bit more like boots on the ground doing the work, which of course the angels are a perfect example of. And we each have this angel that we are contracted with, that basically the moment we come down into physical incarnation, that angel steps through and stays by our side the entire time. And they love us unconditionally in the way that all angels do. They're not really capable of not loving us unconditionally. No matter what we do in our lives, they will always be there for us. And of course, like working with any other angel, we can call on them for support. They will be there. What we would consider to be subconscious or intuition can quite often be that angel stepping through with guidance. But unless, I've talked before about how the third eye works. If you're perhaps very visual or very audible, it might be quite easy for you to recognize. But if, say, for instance, you're clairsentient and you're much more feeling or clair knowing, for instance, that you just know things or you feel things, it can be much harder to determine where that guidance is coming from. So you might not even know that it is your angel. But of course, as I say, this is a being of service who is here to help us however we desire, so we can call upon them for anything that we want in our life. And if we tune into it, we can really feel the love that flows for them. If we get ourselves into that meditative space and make a conscious choice to connect to that being, you will feel their love. And the more you do this, the more you'll become aware of that love flowing to you constantly. So your angels are, or your angel is an incredible source that you have available to you all the time if you just make the choice to connect to them. Next we have our spirit guides. And these essentially, they are beings that have been in physical incarnation and then they have passed on, moved into the light, but they haven't ascended. So these aren't necessarily ascended masters. It can happen, don't get me wrong, it can happen that you can have a guide who was a ascended master, but I tend to think of that in a different way, which I'm going to come back to at the end. Your guides, so they're beings who have been in physical incarnation and have learnt certain wisdom and experience through doing that. That doesn't necessarily mean that they've always been on planet Earth. It is possible to have guides that are from other planets entirely. But they are chosen. We create essentially a contract with them to come into our lives for them to assist us through, it can be our entire lifetime, again from the moment we're born to the moment we die, but it also can just be from a period of our life. You know, it might be that there's a certain initiation or challenge from your past that you've chosen to overcome in this lifetime that they have experience with. So they may well step through into your life for, it could be a week, it could be 6 months, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, who knows? It's whatever you need for your path, and they will come through and they will offer their guidance and their wisdom to you. They will be there to support you how you desire. And you can have a number of guides at any one time. You might have, 4, you may have 5, you might have 2 for some parts of your life. You maybe go up to 4 in different experiences and then come back down. There really is no hard and fast rule, as far as I can tell, on how many you should or shouldn't have. It's very much specific to your path and to your journey and what you need at any one time. But again, they can be a tremendous source, in particular if we connect with them and learn who they are and learn what they are here to help us with, learn what their experience and their gifts and their tool set is. We can then call on them for specific moments in our lives. It might be, say for instance, that you are trying to overcome the challenge of not having enough courage in your life and you need that strength. You might have a guide who was a warrior, proud and strong, and who can help inspire you and give you that strength. So perhaps if you find yourself in a situation in your life where you need that, you can call on those guides to help you do that. And just with your angel, we will be in constant communication with them throughout our days, with them offering wisdom and support, which again may be completely subconscious to you. You may have no idea that's happening, but connecting with them can be such a beautiful experience, to learn who they are, to learn how they can help you. And again, with all of these beings, because they love us unconditionally, it can be such a profound experience to meet them and connect with them in that way. I like to think of it as, meeting a long lost family member that you never knew were there. So that's your spirit guides. We also, I want to say it was 2014, but don't quote me on that, the unicorns and the dragons returned to planet Earth. We were all each assigned a unicorn. Now, typically we like to think of unicorns as kind of fantasy creatures, the beautiful horse with the horn of light, and many of us absolutely still see them in that way. And I think it can be quite a hard thing to fathom, especially when you're first waking up. Lots of people might hear unicorns and dragons and think, oh, that's a bunch of rubbish, it's just fantasy, they were never real. But as with so many things, the myths and the legends are, of course, based on truth. But dragons and unicorns weren't physical beings. They weren't, dragons running around the hillside fighting knights and things like that. They are purely energetic beings. And same with unicorns. They are just energetic beings, and unicorns in particular are incredibly high frequency. And it's not uncommon for them to come in anywhere between, say, the 9th dimension or even up to the 12th dimension. They are incredibly powerful beings. When I work with them, I tend to see them more commonly as an orb of glowing light. But it's also quite common to see them in the classic horse image with the horn. And of course, the horn itself is actually made of pure light, and it is that same light as when you see them in an orb state. And it's quite often you might see them flipping back and forth. They can present themselves however they wish to. Just like with angels, really. Here in the Western world, we tend to see angels as that image with the big, beautiful wings and all of that. But in other parts of the world, they see angels completely differently. They are the same beings, but they have a different representation. Whether that's because it's kind of like a cultural thing, or the angels choose to present themselves in that way, I couldn't say. But of course, an angel can appear just as a person, and it's not uncommon for people to have experiences where an angel comes forward and they have a conversation with someone that they believe is, a normal human being, until all of a sudden they vanish and they realize later that they were an angel. These are incredible beings, of course, and essentially they are giving you permission to see them, so they can do so in any format they desire for what they need to do. So our unicorns, coming back to that, we were all each assigned our own individual unicorn when they came back to join us on the planet. And they are essentially here to help us with our ascension process. They are such incredibly high frequency beings that they can help us with our light, with releasing our shadows, with moving through the initiations, the challenges that we're working through, help us to raise our vibration, to clear density from our bodies. They're just incredibly powerful beings. And just by working with them, with connecting them and beginning to understand that relationship, it can really bring profound and powerful shifts to your life, to your process. And they are just the most beautiful beings. It's pure love made manifest. It's beautiful. And that, of course, brings us to dragons that I touched on a moment ago. And dragons, they come in very varying forms. I tend to feel them as fifth dimensional beings. So they are essentially around the same sort of energetic vibration as we are, but that makes them incredibly powerful because they can easily reach down into the much denser energies, and they are brilliant at clearing. They tend to be quite elemental, so you get different colors, different energies of them. So for instance, you can have earth dragons, fire dragons, water dragons. There's varying dragons of universal energy. So you have Christed dragons that are essentially made of Christ light, violet flame dragons. Pretty much everything that you can possibly imagine, every type of energy, there is a dragon for. And you can call on dragons of a particular type to help you under certain circumstances. For me, for instance, when I shower, I like to call on the water dragons to purify the water and allow that to help purify my energies as well. I work with the earth dragons regularly when I'm doing planetary work to help clear the earth of the planet, of the area around I live. Work with the water dragons again to clear the oceans, the air dragons to clear the air that we breathe. They are just incredibly powerful beings for clearing lower density. And again, of course, they are beings of service to assist us in this regard. And many of us have our own personal dragon, who is assigned to us again to help us throughout our lives, to help us throughout this ascension process, to help us clear density from in our lives. And if you don't have a dragon, you absolutely can essentially request one. You can be assigned a dragon. And this kind of creates a team around us. Our angel, our guides, our unicorn, our dragon just gives us this incredible support, incredible power, incredible amount of love around us at all times that we can just tap into and to assist us on our path. The other thing I wanted to mention as well is it's not everyone has this, but it is quite common to be overlighted. Now, what I mean by this is essentially many of us have some kind of contract, deal, partnership, friendship, whatever, with a particular ascended being. It could be an ascended master, it could be an archangel. But these are beings who they're not so much like specifically assigned to us one-to-one, like our angel or our guide might be, but they are overlighting, overseeing our journey, our path, and here to offer their assistance however they can do. And this can be such a beautiful relationship if you have that. If you're not sure, just ask yourself, am I overlighted? Is there a being who is overlighting my pathway? Tune in, meditate on that and see, and ask who, see who steps through. And these beings may be overlighting many souls around the earth. As I say, it's not that, one-to-one relationship. But it can be such a beautiful thing to have that connection with those souls and to work with them on quite a deep level, to have them there guiding you throughout your journey. So that's it really, that is your team of light. Of course there's other beings, there's all sorts of stuff that happens all the time. Our ancestors can quite often be performing a role within our pathway as well. But those are the kind of the main ones that stood out to me that I wanted to talk about today. Now, the reason why this has been in my mind a lot of late is actually because I've been guided to run a workshop, which is on this coming Thursday, the 10th of October, 10/10, to connect with our team of light, just so that we can kind of experience their energy, so that we can meet them, see who they are, learn a bit more about them, so that we can work with them a little bit easier within our own lives, to experience that profound love that flows from them. As I say, this can just be like meeting a long lost family member. It can be such a beautiful thing, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do as well. I want to take a slight break from some of the intense ascension work we've been doing of late, because it has been such a powerful, intense period. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So if you fancy joining me for that, to come and meet your angel, one of your guides, your unicorn, your dragon, or to connect with a dragon if you don't already have one, that is just what we're going to be doing in this workshop. I think it's going to be such a beautiful experience, and I'd love to share that with you. It's going to be online on Zoom, but as always there is a recording available afterwards if you're not able to make it live. And I'd absolutely love to share that with you. So as always, I'll pop the link to the description down below if you fancy checking that out. Thank you so much for watching this video again today. I really hope that it's helped you. If you're not already, please do subscribe, like, all of that good stuff. And we would absolutely love to have you as a part of our community. I share stuff like this, channel messages, meditations all the time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I wish you the most beautiful day ahead. Sending you lots of love. Bye-bye.